If you're a guitar fanatic or just interested in vintage memorabilia, the International Vintage Guitar Collectors Association is bringing to Peoria rare instruments, in some cases worth $20,000 all the way to the 50s and 60s. I'm joined tonight by the group's regional manager, Lance Stone. You brought a couple guitars with you. What makes these special?
Brought some guitars. Well, you know, the biggest thing about these is condition. They're clean. They look like they're brand new, but they're not. I mean, this is a 64. This is a 61. So condition it can be everything. Can be a lot. Age is always, of course, going to be second, and the rarity of the guitar. You know, those are going to be factors that you consider whenever a collector is buying a vintage guitar.
Who collects guitars?
Lots of people, movie stars, musicians, people that, you know, just like to collect these beautiful pieces and actually just put them on a shelf in their houses and to look at.
And as the market is beginning to evolve, what makes a guitar valuable?
What makes a guitar valuable is, number one, is how many of them, like I said, how many of them were made, what's the condition, the legend of the guitar. I mean, Les Pauls, for instance, you know, those are going to be a big ticket item. And you know, we're purchasing for collectors around the world, and so what we do is we travel this great country of ours and we get paid to buy these guitars for collectors. And so we'll call several different collectors and get top dollar for these things. So we like to get people to come on down if they've got something, whether it's new, old, if it has anything to do with music, makes music, old amps, effects pedals, bring them down because we're cutting a check right there on the spot for these things.
You know, the digitization of music has made it more clear, the sound more clear than ever before.
Yeah.
Conversely, though, is there now a desire for an authenticity in sound that you don't necessarily get?
Yeah, the old Gibsons, you know, they were more of a throaty sound, and your Telecasters and your Stratocasters, your Fenders, they were more of a high-pitched sound. They all had their unique sound. I mean, back then, those things were made way different than they are now. There's just a quality about them. These things are handcrafted. They're virtually perfect, and they sound beautiful, and they're hard to replicate. And there's a lot of companies out there that are actually going backwards and trying to replicate these old guitars and do it again.
Well, you know what? I think you've perfectly set the stage for people to want to hear what these are going to sound like. And when we come back on News 25 at 9, we will hear and see how these vintage guitars can rock. First, let's get today's trivia. All right, Lance Stone is back with us, and he has some help. We're joined by guitar expert Rich Clark and a 1961 Gibson Southern Jumbo. A little bit of a treat for you tonight. It's up to you to decide whether those vintage guitars are better than all the rest. See for yourself. Gentlemen?
Do a little Keith Urban for him. She was precious like a flower, and she grew wild, yeah, wild with innocence. A perfect prayer in a desperate hour, when she was everything beautiful and different. A stupid boy. Well, you can't fence that in, stupid boy. It's like holding back the wind. Oh, you held her heart and soul right in your hands, and you stole her every dream and you crushed her plans. She never even knew she had a choice, and that's what happens when the only voice she hears is telling her she can't. Stupid boy.
All right, our thanks once again to Lance Stone, Rick Clark, and that 1961 Gibson Southern Jumbo. If you're curious to check out those guitars in person, and who knows, maybe you've got something in the attic. The International Vintage Guitar Collectors Association will be in Peoria until Saturday. They'll be at the Grand Hotel and Conference Center on Brandywine. On weekdays, the hours are 9 in the morning until 6 in the evening, and then Saturday from 9 a.m. until 4 o'clock. For more information, you call 726-7590.